In this video I'm going to be showing you how to program up the TYT MD-380 on an amateur system. The very first thing you'll need to do to get this radio working on the amateur radio, let's say on the DMR Mark network, is put your radio ID in here. Now if you don't have one already, then go over to the DMR Mark network and request one, and they will issue one to you. We don't really need to change anything else in here, but you can have a look at those settings and change them if you want to. I'm just covering the very basics. Now the next important part is channels information. So this is where all of your channels are going to be listed, and that's channel 1. That just comes already programmed in the software. Let's add another channel. So you right click on channels information and go to add. And let's say we're going to use these channels for GB7NS, which is a DMR Mark repeater in London. I've opened up the website here for it, and it gives you all the information here that you need to program up the radio. So the transmit frequency and the receive frequency, this is showing the transmit frequency of the repeater. So if the repeater transmits on that frequency, then the radio is going to receive on that frequency. So 439.1625, we put in here 439.1625, and then the receive frequency 430.1625, 430.1625, and let's change the name to GB7NS slot 1, because we have to make a new channel for each slot that we want to use. Now there are two methods of programming up amateur repeaters. One method is to use the contact name, that's the talk group that you're going to be talking on, and make a new channel for each talk group on the repeater. You can do it that way, but it takes a long time to program it that way, and it also means that you only hear activity that is on that talk group when you're selected on that channel. I prefer to do it a different way, which is where you put all of the talk groups in a group list, and then you assign the group list to the channel, and then you will hear everything that's on that slot. So see here, it's on repeater slot 1. If we put all the groups that are in use on that repeater in a group list and assign it to this channel, then we'll hear anything on this slot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a group list here. This is where you get the group list. Let's call this group list amateur. Oops, I forgot that capital lock was on. Okay, and we want to add some groups to it. So what groups are in use on this repeater? Let's see. Talk group 9, 2, 3, 5, 8. Let's program those ones up first. So we're going to digital contact, talk group 9, and 9 is local, 2, 3, 5 and 8. Okay, 2, 3, 5 and 8. So 2, 3, 5 is UK wide, and 8 is roaming. What else is there? 2 for Europe, 3 for North America, and I don't see it here, but I know that talk group 1 is worldwide, so let's call that one worldwide. Okay, so let's add 2 for Europe and 3 for North America. 2 for Europe and 3 for North America. Europe, let's say NA for North America. The call receive tone is, if you turn it on, then the radio will beep when a call starts. I generally would leave that off, but if you want your radio to beep at you when the call starts, then you can turn that on. So now that we've made these group calls, we can go into the group list again, which if you've closed it, then it's here, and add those to the group list, which means if we assign this group list called amateur to any channel, then it will receive anything that happens on any of these groups now, as long as it's on that slot that the channel is programmed to. Okay, so we've got repeater slot 1, and we're going to put in that group list amateur, and the contact name can be any of the contacts that are assigned for use on that slot. So we're on repeater slot 1. Let's have a look what talk groups you're allowed to use on repeater slot 1. Okay, it says, oh, it does say talk group 1 is worldwide. Okay, slot 1 is used for international. You can use talk group 1, 2, 3. Let's say we want to use talk group 1 on that slot by default. So if we select worldwide, that's talk group 1. Then if you go onto this channel and just key up, then it'll talk on worldwide. You can still go to the contact list though, and select any of the other groups that you have programmed in and talk on them. So it doesn't limit you to talking on only one group on that time slot. You can still talk on any group, and you'll also receive all of the groups that are in use on that time slot. Okay, so now we want to copy this information and put it in another channel. Actually, first there's one thing that I forgot, which is very important, which is the color code. So we need to check what the color code is. The color code is 3. So we need to make sure we put that color code in. Color code 3. Otherwise it won't work. Okay, so now we want to program in slot 2. Let's copy this channel. And to copy a channel you have to paste it on top of another one. Usually you would paste it on top of an empty one. Okay, so we've copied all the information from there now. It's got the frequency and everything except the name. We're going to have to put a name in there. So GB7NS slot 2, I'm going to call it. And I'm going to change the repeater slot to 2. The color code stays the same on any repeater. The group list I'm going to leave on amateur because I want to receive all of the groups that are in use on this slot. And the contact name, now let's see what groups are allowed on slot 2. Okay, so talk groups should be set to 9 for local repeater communications using slot 2. So let's set that to 9 local. There we go. Talk group 9 is local, and that is everything programmed for this channel now. You can also select a scan list though if you want to. So if we put that scan list on, then from this channel, if you turn scan on while you're on this channel, then it will scan list 1. Although we haven't put anything in scan list 1 yet. It's automatically had that channel in, which was the default channel that was already here. This other channel that we've made is not in. We might want to add it, and then you can scan GB7NS slot 1 and slot 2 at the same time, which means that you should hear any traffic that comes up on the repeater, except for groups that you might not have programmed in. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to go to zone information, and we need to add both of these channels to a zone. The default zone in the radio is just called zone 1. You can change that name to something more meaningful if you want to. We're going to go and add a simplex channel now. So let's go back to channel information, click add. Here is our simplex channel, and I've got up this website here which says that the calling channel is 438.6125. So let's go back to here and put in 438.6125 in both the transmit and receive, 438.6125, and I'm going to call it calling. Actually no, I'm going to call it DMR calling so that we know that it's the DMR calling channel. And it tells us we want to use color code 1 and talk group 9. Okay, so go down here and make sure color code is set to 1. The repeater slot for simplex communications, you don't need to worry about that. You can set it on either 1 or 2. And because it's simplex, it doesn't have anything to synchronize the radios, so it doesn't matter. The radio completely ignores the slot, so you can select either. The group list, you can set it to a group list if you want to, But if you know you're only going to be using one group, which it says on here the talk group is talk group 9, you can set the contact to local, which remember is talk group 9, and it will receive any communications on that talk group as well as automatically transmitting on that talk group. If you want to set the group list to amateur, it won't do any harm. You'll hear anyone who's talking on any of the other groups, just in case they're not transmitting on the right talk group 9. Let's say they were accidentally transmitting on talk group 8 instead, then you would be able to hear them still if you use that group list, but it probably won't be necessary, so you can just leave it on none if you want to. It also says on the page to set the admit criteria to always and the in-call criteria to always. On this radio we don't have an in-call criteria, that's just on Motorola radios, but we've got an admit criteria that you can change. Always just allows you to transmit anytime. Channel 3 only allows you to transmit when it detects that there's no activity on the channel, and color code only allows you to transmit when it detects that your color code is free. I personally think it's probably better to set it to color code, because otherwise you can easily transmit over someone else who is talking on the channel already using the same color code as you. They might be using a different talk group that you might not hear, and then you will be transmitting over them if you just key up and it's set to always. So if you set it to color code, it will stop you from transmitting on top of them. Okay, so now we need to remember to add that channel to the zone, and let's call that zone amateur. Okay, you also might want to add that channel to your scan list, so when you scan any of these channels it will scan all 3 of them, but you have to remember to assign that scan list to the channel. Otherwise, if you try to turn scan on, it won't actually do anything on that channel. So now that we've assigned the scan list to all 3 channels, you can select scan on any channel and it will scan all 3 of them. You also might want to enable private call confirmed. Even though private calls aren't allowed on repeaters, it might be useful on the DMR calling channel or on one of the other simplex channels which are listed here, because if someone private calls you, then this means that your radio will respond to the private call and say, yeah, I'm in range, go ahead and talk. Otherwise they won't know whether you're in range or not. So that's all that I've got for you in this video. Hopefully that will help you get started using DMR. Thanks for watching.